Okay, so there's 4 animals represented in the Segno for the Fiore system. For Fiore di Libere was a fight master at the end of the 14th, beginning of the 15th century in medieval Italy. And he wrote several books, many of which are studied by fat butch people who are doing HEMA. He's a longsword guy. And the first one is Fortudio, the elephant with a castle on his back. And they believed that the elephant's knees didn't really bend, and he had to stay erect and straight and good and stiff in a proper stance so that the castle didn't fall over. It's a mnemonic for you keeping track of your center of gravity, which changes greatly when you add all the armor above the waist. Then it moves from down here to up here. So you have to keep a good, wide base of movement, and keep your base of movement to keep your castle, your upper part of your body where your defense and your attack come from, in a relative position to where you don't lose your balance, but you can still effectively strike your opponent without losing your balance. You want to move whichever direction you're moving. You move that foot first, and there's basically 3 steps. You've got an increasing step where you step forward with whatever foot's forward, and then the second foot gathers. You've got the decreasing step, which is just the backwards version of that. Step backwards and gather. Then you've got a passing step where I step through and I make a strike or I close the distance. And then you have a half turn, the mezza volta, where I step and I pivot so that I can strike behind the opponent's defense or pivot out of the way of something like that. But at every point, you're keeping that good solid base, that good elephant with a castle on his back, fortudio, so that you keep balance and you don't let your armor throw you on the ground or let anybody else throw you on the ground. So that's the basics of the fortudio stance ideology in 1 minute or less.